Hi, this is Dr. J. Today I'd like to discuss the issues with a project charter, why the charter is important, why we use a charter, who authorizes writing a charter, the contents of a charter, the examples of a charter, and when and how to present the charter to project sponsors. Let's take a minute to look at this Dilbert cartoon. One of the goals of a project charter is to provide initial estimate of the cost of a project. This estimate and the cost associated with the project will be refined as we know more about the project. There are many valid reasons for doing a project charter. It talks about why we are doing the project, discusses the objectives and constraints of the projects. The objectives are the business functions that we're going to develop. The constraints might be a time constraint, monetary constraint, or functionality constraint. The charter also discusses what is in scope in a project and what is out of scope in a project. In scope is what is going to be delivered in this project, and out of scope is items that we may hold for a future project or a future release. The charter also identifies both the internal and external stakeholders. It is critical to identify the stakeholders up front to involve them in the project, and also to allow your team to develop a communications plan to communicate with the stakeholders. The other purpose of a charter is to identify the high-level risks at the beginning of the project. Many times these risks, if they're identified early, can be mitigated or resolved quickly if they occur. The communications plan varies by the stakeholders. Some prefer oral communications, some prefer written, some prefer email, and some prefer face-to-face meetings. So it's important that you understand there's various ways to communicate with stakeholders. The other thing, why are we doing this project? What are the benefits? Remember, benefits can be tangible, monetary, or intangible, customer service, or customer improvement, or discovery of new knowledge. The charter also should contain a high-level budget and the spending authority for the project. There are many good reasons why we use a project charter. The project should be authorized. That is, the project's goals, objectives, and funding should be clearly stated. When we authorize the project, it is in a common format. That way, projects of our organization can be ranked and authorized as a project portfolio. It also serves as the primary document for the project. It serves as the focal point throughout the entire project. That is, it's the baseline project goals and objectives. As it serves as a focal point, we can keep coming back to the project charter to remind the team of what the goals and objectives of the project. Who writes the project charter? The project charter should be written by the project sponsor or one of the major stakeholders who've authorized the project. However, in the real world, most times this doesn't occur. In the real world, the project manager writes the charter. This isn't all bad because the project manager can make sure all items are included in the project charter. The project manager can use this as a communications vehicle between the project manager and project sponsor for agreement on the goals, objectives, time, and costs of a project. So many times when a project manager writes the project, it is in a good level of detail to promote understanding by both the project manager and project sponsor. The contents of a project charter should include the following: the title and the date of the authorization of project, the project manager and sponsor's name and contact information, a high-level summary of the schedule, a description of the major objectives of the project, and how do we know if the project is successful? What is the success criteria, and how are we going to manage the project? The contents should also include the roles and responsibilities of the project team member. It should include a sign-off on the key project stakeholders. That way it ensures that they understand the goals and objectives and timeline of a project, and any comments related to the project. The project charter should be presented to the project team, the project sponsors, and the stakeholders in a joint public meeting. This way it provides for dialogue and also provides for any questions and answer concerning how the project should be run, or any goals and objectives, or any issues associated with the project. This meeting is critical to have to provide a common understanding to all parties of the project team. The following examples come from Revised Introduction to Project Management, the 3rd edition. The project charter should be presented in a project kickoff meeting. The objectives of the project should be clearly articulated to the stakeholders and the project team. The goals of the project should be reviewed, and the discussion of future plans should also occur. The agenda is introductions, the background, review the documents that relate to the project and the project charter, discuss the organizational structure, who reports to whom, who makes the decisions on any changes, additions, or subtractions to scope. Clearly articulate what the scope of the project is, what is in scope, and also what is out of scope, the general time frames for the project, and the cost goals for the project, and action items that will be apparent or discussed in the next meeting, and set a time and a date of the next meeting. So the kickoff is a level setting effort to get the project team and the sponsors to agree on the objects and objectives of the project. It is also to raise any additional issues associated with the project. This is a sample project charter, and I would like to point out it has the title, it has the budget information, it has the project manager. The project objectives should be thought out in detail before the charter is produced, and the success criteria should also be analyzed to determine at the end of the project if the project was successful or non-successful. And remember, success criteria could be tangible and intangible benefits. And then the approach on how you're going to manage the project is also discussed in detail. This is another sample project charter on this website. It gives a little different view of what should be included in a project charter. It also includes some risk items in a project charter, so you may want to take a few minutes to look at this site and look at the various project charter documents on this website. Again, the charter is a contract and a common understanding between the project manager and the project sponsor. It also is a common understanding between the user community and the project team. We should try to go into the project with a we understanding. We will be successful. We understand the objectives, we understand the benefits, we understand the management plan, and we understand how the project is going to proceed. Feel free to email me with any questions. Thank you.